What's up, everybody? This is Carl from Technical Goodies, and today we're looking at a laptop cooler. So this is the laptop cooler by Llano. Now, this is a bit more of a premium laptop cooler. I've had laptop coolers in the past that were, the cheapo ones you get on Amazon or the $5 store, and none of them really seem to do anything because the biggest problem that I have is that I hate the fact that all of my laptops get so hot they're almost unusable. Again, like I said, this is a bit of a premium laptop cooler, but what I've found is that it really makes a huge difference. I've been using it here for about 3 weeks, and I wanted to make sure it really worked before I really got on here and kind of talked about it. So out of the box, you basically just get this cooler device right here. There is a bit of a foam pad where you put your laptops. That's removable. And the heart of the device is right here. So this is a giant fan that pulls air up from the bottom and pushes it into the laptop. Now, the way a laptop works is, and I've got my big laptop here, it has intake fans on the bottom here to cool down the laptop. And then what it does is it goes ahead and shoots out that hot air from the side. What this laptop cooler does is facilitate the airflow from here into your laptop and out the sides. More air, cooler laptops. Now, the cool thing about this is that if we go ahead and flip it over here on the bottom, is that it has the intake on the bottom, and inside this intake here, I'll show you, they have a bit of a dust filter. You can actually see on mine, there's actually already dust on it. So this is already protecting my laptop. All of that dust would have been inside my laptop, causing all sorts of problems. And I like to use my laptop out on my back porch. Maybe I'm watching golf, maybe I'm watching football, maybe I'm watching something and just hanging out outside, or even playing a game. It gets dusty. So this adds to the ability to sort of block that dust from getting inside of my laptop. On the bottom, you also have these feet. Now, these are 2-stage feet. You can pull them up like this, or you can pop them up one more level. Just push from the back, flip it up. And that depends on what you're doing and what situation you're using it. It makes it so that you can go ahead and adjust the angle that the laptop is leaning toward you. Now, I'm not going to lie. This laptop cooler is a chonker. It is a beast, right? So if you are using it, depending on your laptop, you might need maybe a wrist guard or to sort of lift your arms up, but just letting you know that it is quite a bit off the top of the desk here. So on the front of the device too, you have 2 little fold-up arms here. So these fold up in order to be able to block the laptop from sliding off. Now, since you do have that foam enclosure around the outside edge, it doesn't really slide around, but this gives you a little bit extra protection if you want it. On the front of the cooler, you also have a power button. You basically hold that in for 2 to 3 seconds to turn it on, and you have the ability to change kind of the RGB that's all the way around the outside here, and I'll show you that after we get it turned on. And the last thing that you have here is the fan dial, right? And I'll show you how this works. So this allows you to basically increase and decrease the fan speed. Now, this fan speed will go actually pretty high, and one of the issues with that, fans are loud. You crank that puppy up all the way, that's going to be a loud fan. But there's a reason behind it, because you want that fan to be doing the maximum amount of cooling. So what this dial does here is allow you to kind of dial in the amount of cooling you need based on the fan noise that you hear. And one of the cool things, in addition to just being a laptop cooler, is that on the side here, right, you have a normal barrel plug that plugs into a normal plug on the side of your wall. So that plugs in here and gives power to the device, but you're also able to use this as a USB hub. You have a USB-C connection here that you would, I think, connect to your laptop, and then 3 USB-A's here for if you wanted to do a mouse, a keyboard, and like a flash drive or something like that. So what that allows you to do is not only use this to cool your laptop, but as a hub. So if you're coming in and putting your laptop on here, all you have to do is plug in one cord to the side. Your keyboard will work, your mouse will work, all that kind of stuff. So that's usually why I like to use a hub with a laptop, because you can kind of only have one plug going into the side that has all the other stuff plugged in at the same time. So let's get into some practical tests here. Like I said, I have my 17-inch Dell laptop. I'm going to first of all, take this right here, toss it back on, and if you look here on this foam device, it says please this side down, which is fine. I'm gonna go ahead and put my laptop on here. I will flip up these handles just to give a little bit more structure to the device itself. As long as you can see me here and down here, I will record my screen, but you'll be able to hear kind of the sound or take a look at how this looks. Okay, so go ahead and turning on the device itself. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this button here, hold it down for 3 seconds, and it's gonna turn on. You can see the RGB around the outside edge. Like I said, you can use these buttons here to change the mode however you want to. You can change the color and the cycling of the RGB to kind of match your setup, which is nice. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on there just to keep it going. And one of the things that you can see here, I'll hold this up. Actually, what I'll do is move my laptop a little bit up here, is that you can see that it has an RPM meter right here. So it displays the RPM of the fan currently. 300 is the lowest, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn it up to the highest. So the highest is 2800 RPM on the fan. That is pretty loud, and I'm sure you can hear it through the microphone right now. But the idea is that you're able to use that to quickly cool. Let me turn this down. So the idea behind that is that you're able to ramp it up, quickly cool down your machine in an emergency situation, and then move it down to a more reasonable level based on the sound level you're okay with and the cooling that you're okay with, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do some practical tests with my laptop here. All right, so what I've done is I've gone ahead and installed a program called Hardware Info 64. And what that does is it allows you to basically monitor all the sensors inside your computer, your fan speeds, your temperatures, you know, whatever you want. So what I'm gonna do is use this to sort of monitor the core temperatures on my processor and my graphics card. Typically, you want to look at the CPU package, which is all your cores, if you have E cores or your P cores or whatever cores, you know, basically taking it down a level. If you have a CPU, it typically has 6 cores, 8 cores, 10 cores, whatever how many cores, but that packages it all together and tells you what the general heat is across the board. And the way that heat works kind of on a CPU is that if you get up around the 100°C mark, it'll start to throttle the performance of your device. And the reason it's doing that is to make sure it doesn't get any hotter and burn out your processor or anything like that. So if you're getting up around 100, you're in that sort of danger zone. It'll start to throttle and your PC will suffer from that. So I'm idling here at about 57. You should be able to see as I'm doing this, whether I'm turning on the fan or increasing the fan RPM. So you can see I'm already up to 60 degrees on my processor and 43.2 degrees on my GPU. So this is an RTX card inside this laptop, so it can generally get a little hotter because you're asking it to do more. Okay, so you can see I'm up to 61 degrees, okay? So on an idle test, doing absolutely nothing, if I go ahead and turn on the fan down below, okay, and I'm gonna crank it up to about 1500, you're gonna start to see this number right here drop. So you can already see that the GPU here is already dropping down to about 40, and you can see the sharp decline right here in the temperature of my CPU. So that already shows you right there that this is really adding benefit to the computer. Now, the thing about the laptop is the fact that, you know, at these lower temperatures, it's not that big of a deal. But if I'm sitting outside playing a game like Elden Ring or something like that, that puts a lot of tax onto the computer, then you will see a huge difference. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is run a program called Furmark to test the computer here. Now, Furmark is a very small program that basically will run benchmarks on your system and push it to the limit, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and run this and see what happens to the CPU temperature, and I'm going to turn off the fan here. Okay, so this is currently off, and I'm just going to run this. So you can see with Furmark, what you're getting is basically kind of like a graphics intensive type of run on your graphics card. So if I pull up hardware info, you'll see that my graphics card is starting to go up. And if I let this run for a while, you'll see that the temperatures continue to increase. So you can see my GPU and my CPU are going to go up here to about 62 degrees and 50 degrees respectively. If I kept this going by itself, it would actually get a little bit higher. But what I really want to show you is this graph going straight up. Now what I'm going to do is turn on the fan. Now I have the fan on, and it's about 2,000 RPM. And immediately, what do you see? You start to see a drop here in the GPU's temperature and the CPU temperature. Taking that extra tax and extra heat that's being caused by the program that's running and dissipating it out faster. And I think that that's where you can really see how this works. Now, one thing I'm going to also do here is turn this off, okay? And I'm going to stop the Furmark program. And it also has something called a CPU burner, okay? So let me run this. So this is designed to basically just blast your CPU with as many operations as possible, and then you can see how hot it gets, how fast it goes, stuff like that. So I'm gonna hit start here. And if you look over here on the right side, you can actually see that my CPU temperature is starting to go up. Now, when I play video games, what I will actually see is my laptop will get up to around 95, maybe even pop at 100 every once in a while. And when I end up using this laptop cooler, I don't see it get that high anymore. So I don't have any throttling when I'm playing video games. But right now you can see that after using this CPU burner for a couple minutes, we're up, maximum has gotten up to about 85 degrees, okay? So with it being up so high currently at 77, 83, I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the fan and we'll see if we can get a difference. So immediately you can start to see those temperatures come down. Now I'm at 64, dropping down to 70 to 58. So it is starting to kind of drop down, not only in the CPU. I mean, you can see a drastic difference in the change, but also the GPU, okay? Now, do I need it at 2,500 RPM right now? No, because that 2,500 RPM, now granted, this is artificially taxing my system, but that 2,500 RPM is really just to kind of bring your temperatures down. And I can start to lower this a little bit. I'll bring it down to about 1,300 and we'll see what that does. Yep, and you can kind of see now that it is, you know, this is a very sensitive reading of the temperature right here, but you can see that it is kind of lowered and it's sort of staying lowered. It's not up at these higher numbers like 82 and 75. It's now actually getting down to about 52 and 62, and that's with this running. So I think that's really a good sort of real world test about this laptop cooler. Now, like I said, it is pretty chunky and it is a premium price, but when you're looking for something that can handle like a 17-inch or a 15-inch laptop that is always hot, I think it's well worth it, you know, especially with these Dells. I find that they run so hot you can't even hold them on your lap. So all in all, I've been extremely happy with this laptop cooler. Again, this is a laptop cooler from Llano. Thanks to them for sending this over for me to test out. It really came at the perfect time because this laptop really does get hot, and this laptop cooler has solved a lot of my problems. I'll leave the link down below. If this helped you out, go ahead and hit like, subscribe. I'd love to see you back. But until next time, this is Carl from Techful Goodies, and I'm out.